Hello and welcome back to the first video in the Greenhouse Learning SEN tutoring session, and this video is on ADHD tutoring. So in this video we will look at what ADHD is, how it affects learning, tips to tutor ADHD students, and how to assess ADHD students. So again, like the last video, we will start by looking what is ADHD. And again, if you like, in your own time, you can pause this and read through it. This is the official definition of ADHD, and we will break it down now. So there are three main types of ADHD. There is a predominantly inattentive presentation. So this means that the student will struggle to concentrate. He can not focus on one task, and retaining information for them is a lot harder. There's also predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, which means that the student can be overly active, has more impulsive behaviors, and fidgets a lot. And then the third type is combined presentation, where both of these symptoms will be displayed. So now let's look at how this will affect learning in ADHD students. So they can find it hard to concentrate for a long period of time. So like dyslexia, it's about being able to cater your lessons for this and have like shorter blocks of learning, bigger breaks. They allow us to have a shorter attention span. So again, it's about keeping the concentrated learning to like as short as you can. Need to be able to release energy. So that's allowing the student to get up and walk around if they feel necessary and get them very distracted. So in the lessons, it's about limiting the amount of distractions that you have so they're able to focus. And also they can have an increased chance of having other learning disorders. So ADHD is very commonly linked with ASD. So the ADHD side might only be one factor to the SEN. So that's just another thing to consider with your students. And also medication can have an impact on the learning. If your student is on ADHD medication, and especially if they're new to their medication, then there can be lots of difficulties, like lots of trial and error to start with. So you might find that they're not very responsive or not very engaged. So then it's about catering your lessons to account for that as well. So tutoring students with ADHD. So again, this is quite similar to dyslexic ones because there's lots of similarities, but overall, the most important thing is understanding learning styles on an individual basis. This applies for any student, especially any student with SEN. You really need to understand how your student learns in order to get the best out of them, and try lots of different things and lots of different ways of explaining the information and find which one suits your student best. Small blocks of input with lots of breaks is really important for students with ADHD because you want to keep that concentrated learning, just learning. And if you find that if it goes on too long, then they will not be as engaged. So if you have 10 minutes of learning with a 5-minute break constantly throughout the lesson, and that 10 minutes is just pure learning, then you'll find that they'll be a lot more engaged if it was just half an hour of learning than with a 15-minute break at the end. And then keep it engaging. So I think a really important thing to do is not give tasks where the child works independently, especially with younger children, or where it's just monitored learning. I think it's good if you can go through the task with the student and you work together the whole time, and therefore you'll find that they stay a lot more engaged and they'll be a lot less distracted than if they were just given tasks to do on their own. And again, like dyslexia, kinesthetic learning is a great tool. Wherever you can have learning where you get up and you move around, and then again, this goes into the next point where it's giving them the option to move around. So if you're having a discussion about something and they feel more comfortable walking and talking to you, as long as they're focused on learning, then it's a great tool for them to have, and it'll just give them another way of releasing that energy. And then again, just don't keep it to desk learning if you can. Try and get them moving about and releasing that energy. And the use of fidget toys is a really good tool in the classroom, where you'll find that if they just have a small way of releasing some of that built up energy, then they can concentrate a lot more. So even if they are at a desk but they have a fidget toy, then they can still focus. As long as that fidget toy isn't becoming a distraction, then it's a good tool. So assessing children with ADHD. So this isn't so much as a big issue as with dyslexia, as you can monitor it kind of similar in the way you would with non-SEN children, because it's just about tracking their progress. But there are a few things just to keep in mind. So younger children, keep the lessons concise and the goals clear of what you're trying to achieve. Again, like I said with dyslexia, have a very solid aim of what you want to achieve each lesson and make sure you're sticking to that. Don't start getting distracted with other things or bring them up on other things. Make sure you always have that clear goal in mind for each lesson. Also, you'll find that with students with ADHD, especially younger students and older students actually, that they can have a lot more lower ability because at that early age they were a lot more distracted and weren't engaged as well as they other students might have been. So then you'll have to build up a lot from the stuff that they missed in previous lessons. And then again, building up with areas they are struggling with. So if you find that, especially with like literacy and maths, that they have got a very low ability in that, it's about focusing on that and building up with that goal. And then again, like dyslexia, it's about focusing on the positives. Don't keep bringing them down with stuff they're doing wrong, because then again, they're not going to be engaged as much. If they are really good at something, really lean into that and focus on that. And again, focus on that interest. Try and steer the lessons towards something they are really interested in, and you'll find that they are a lot more engaged throughout the lesson. Right, thank you for watching, and the next video will be on ASD learning. Thank you.